Let's go. My name's Dan Gheesling, and welcome to our next Star Citizen opinion video. In this opinion video, we're going to be talking about the latest alien ship introduced into Star Citizen, most recently with their concept ship sale, called the Banu Defender. It's one of a handful of alien ships that have been released for players in the game, although it's not yet flyable. A lot of information was just released, and most recently, like I said, they had a concept sale for this ship. So before we get into directly talking about the ship itself, let's talk about the alien race of the Banu. I'm not overly into lore, but I think there are some unique things to point out about this specific race. The first and foremost is that in the Star Citizen world, the first alien species to come into human contact is the Banu. So they're primarily known as a trading race with a heavy influence on being merchants and also specializing. So you won't see a Banu merchant who's also a fighter and that sort of thing. So they tend to pick one route and stick with it. One of the other interesting things that in one of the Around the Verses with the lore videos, they talked about how important material things are to the Banu, and in particular that they carry everything with them when they travel in space, meaning that's why the Merchantman, which is kind of one of the longest memed ships in Star Citizen, people love to meme about the Merchantman because so many people want to see it, but in particular the Banu carry everything they own with them, and they wear a lot of ornaments and a lot of different things on them to kind of show their status. So that's kind of interesting. And the other thing that Star Citizen or the CIG drove home in developing the Banu lore is the fact that they try to come off as appealing to people, although they're generally awkward in nature. I can sometimes relate to that. So it's just cool to get a little bit of a background story behind this race. It kind of looks like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, but they put their own unique twist on it. So with that background lore, it gives us some insight as to how the Banu Defender was designed and some of the backside assets, no pun intended, into why they designed it in this way. So the Banu Defender in nature is not an aggressive ship. It was designed as an escort ship to defend the trading ship, the Banu trading ship, which is the Merchantman. And one of the interesting things is they said it went through a lot of different concept designs. So I think they said like 18 different paths or 18 different sketches. And one of the things that I noticed right away from the Banu Defender is that it kind of looks like a Kilrathi Drathi fighter, especially with the two front end, almost like a silverback gorilla with the arms out in front. So it definitely has a unique silhouette, and I think anytime a new ship is introduced into Star Citizen, two things have to happen. It has to have a really unique silhouette, because you don't want ships to start blending together, and the second thing is that it has to have a well-defined role in the game. So there's no point, in my opinion, in having a Hornet and a Hornet clone. Each ship serves a different purpose. That way there's not a whole lot of redundancy and makes things interesting and unique, and also allows you to play the game in the type of ship that fits your exact needs. And I think the Banu Defender, for the most part, does that. A couple of the unique things about the Banu Defender outside of its outward appearance and the fact that it has a front-facing ramp like the Banu Merchantman, in theory, although we haven't seen a ton on it, is that it has a much bigger shield than similar sized ships. So in terms of a size comparison, it has a much stronger shield than the Hornet. It has gimbaled weapons on the front, and kind of the three things that I found most exciting about the Banu Defender was the fact that it has such an organic looking interior, meaning that when you go inside or you see the concept art of the interior of the Banu Defender, it looks and feels like you're actually in an alien ship, almost like something out of Alien. And I like that. Because a lot of the ships that we've seen thus far in Star Citizen are very manufactured, and it makes sense because they're all human-based ships, with the exception of, the Scout and the Vandal ships. But this just has a really unique and sleek alien feel to it. I like that. The other thing I liked about this, and it's probably because I'll end up using it a lot, is that there's a two-seat cockpit. So there's two independent cockpits, and as a result, there's two independent ejection seats. So you may be flying with a co-pilot, and all of a sudden you decide, hey, time to go, and you can launch yourself and eject yourself from the ship, and the other person can stay or do the same, but they're not tied together, which I think can make for some really unique gameplay elements in a lot of different crazy scenarios. Also, in terms of, hijacking a ship, there's a lot of interesting things that could happen in that way as well. And then the other interesting thing, or the new thing, that's being introduced with the Banu Defender is they're having a new weapon, a new style of weapon called the Tachyon Cannon. And I think it fits within the lore to have a new alien ship come in and they bring something new to the table that perhaps could be retrofitted on other ships. And speaking of other ships, the other thing I like to do when new ships are released is compare. I don't get into the nitty gritty and the fine details unless we get into cargo, because I'm obsessed with cargo. But outside of that, more in terms of speed and power and speed and weapons. And in the Banu Defender Q&A on the Robert Space Industry website, they said the Banu Defender is faster than the Saber and Hornet and slightly faster than the Buccaneer. And we know the Buccaneer is pretty fast for its size. However, the Buccaneer will have better maneuverability. So it fits in that range in terms of being a Defender type ship and still has some speed. And I think the overarching theme and the one thing when I think of the Banu Defender is that it's going to be a type of a bullet sponge for the Banu merchantman. So it's been designed with highly resistant shields. And the Star Citizen website, they set up an interesting scenario where, hey, if you're assaulting a Banu merchantman and want to go after their cargo, you got to make a decision. Are you going to spend your time focused on the Banu defenders around it and wasting your ammo and energy breaking down those ships, or do you want to bypass it, take some heat from the Banu defenders and try to get in and get it out? And I think overall, anytime a new concept ship is released, you've got to ask yourself those two important questions. Does it look unique? Does it have a unique silhouette? And does this have a place in the verse? And I think the Banu Defender does just that. This is one of the rare alien ships for me that I would consider purchasing, although I said I'm currently on a Star Citizen spending freeze, just because it adds a different scenario. So say that you want to take out a Banu Defender and have nothing to do with a merchantman, you could use this almost in the front of a convoy of other ships that you're trying to bring a squadron into. So say you have a front line of Banu Defenders to take the heat off some maybe less protected fighters that you're going to assault either a merchant ship or a base or whatever. I just think it's almost like the front lines of a Spartan phalanx, and I kind of like that. So that being said, hope you guys enjoyed our opinion on the new Banu Defender. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. Let me know if you guys bought a Banu Defender or were consider buying one in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We post a new Star Citizen gameplay video every single morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here in the channel. And I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. If you do, click the like button. It helps out the channel and the video tremendously. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.